Well, this video is going to be dedicated to Pastor Chicken Little and the fear mongers. And, you know, here's the chicken. So anyway, that's the stuff that goes on. I guess some people live for that stuff, but I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to actually get a little religious here because we're dealing with a pastor. Every plant which my heavenly Father has not planted shall be rooted up. Let them alone, they are blind, and the leaders of the blind. If the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. Matthew 15:13 and 14. So let's get the religion on here a little bit too, because we're going to be talking about the blind leading the blind, or actually the DVD salesman leading the blind, whatever the hell. You're going to go right off the damn cliff, you know. So anyway, but if you're a believer in aliens, we got Putin the Cat in a Palladium spaceship telling them what's going on in the world today. Actually, I think my cats are probably more accurate than most of the financial advisors out there for real. So we'll go along with the cats for now, man. These guys crack me up anyway. So we got, Rocky over here chilled out, and usually he's a pretty good, cool hand Luke type of person, but until he gets mad and he hisses. But he can usually figure out the political situation pretty good. And if there's any Illuminati that need to be clawed and eaten up, he will do it, because he's got the power and them claws. And this is also, I'm going to just give you a little footnote here. This was Putin back in the day when he was like a little kitten, and there's his little siblings and stuff. Now, you remember I got a gold cat? My gold cat looks goldy. Well, actually, the next picture to see looks kind of gold because there was a dark picture when he was outside. He looks just like Putin's little sibling. He's got the same marks like this on the face. He's got the same stripes on a thing. He's got that gold color with the pink nose. So Putin is like got his little sibling back with Goldie. So you figured, isn't that kind of like deja vu, the way things work? So, deja vu is going to work the same way with silver, too. But don't take any of the crazy snake oil from the snake oil poison. Poison, 100 tablets, heroin, hydrochloride, 1 to 6 grains. That's basically what you're getting from these guys that's selling the DVDs. I'm going to tell you a couple things here because... basically this is what's going on. Thanks, man. Buy my stuff. Yeah, it's free. I'm offering free stuff, but then buy my stuff. I'm going to ad-lib on here a little bit before I get into a couple other things, but just to blow them apart. But, even Alex Jones was talking about, YouTube banning some video or something, or from some channel, and I'm thinking, get the hell out of it, because it was a copyright. Then he goes off. I'm gonna get on with him too, because he's another fearmonger, for profit. Because basically that's what they're doing. You see the bowl is being handed around. Hey, thanks, man. He likes the freaking money, right? Basically, the guy's been caught in a lot of lies. I know maybe this is not going to be too popular because I don't want to be too negative on it, but these guys are really a load of it. They're not telling you what's going on, and I'm a person, I'm going to tell you, my whole freaking philosophy on silver is, I hope everything goes right in the world. The United States survives great. All the prices of everything goes down, except for silver. I hope silver goes right through the freaking roof, and everything else is cheap, man. I don't want the world to fall apart. You know what I mean? But silver's probably going to do good. But, even Alex Jones, he's got the bowl handed out there, like, the pastors with the DVD sales and all the other people out there spreading the fear, and they get you hooked on it almost like a soap opera. It's what the daytime soap opera show. What's going to happen next? And I guess that's part of good for advertising, maybe. I don't know. But Alex Jones was claiming that YouTube was taking down some video or some garbage, and it was like he said it was copyrighted material in there, but it probably was. I really don't know. Maybe it really, really was. Because that guy's been caught in a lot of lies. And I don't want to, I can tell you, there's other links out there. He got caught in a lot of lies. So he says, the whole thing at the end of it was, go buy my products, go buy my survival juice, my juicy juice, my colloidal silver spray, and my T-shirts and my hats and InfoWars, stuff. Hey, bunch of garbage. Go feel for me. So I'm going to say this. This is probably what Jesus is thinking right now as far as what these pastors are going. I died for you one time, but never again. Because, I got to agree with Pete down there at the Southwest Custom and Rods channel, at the DIY Auto School, that these guys are like the worst of the worst, man. They'll never pick up a wrench. They'll never pick up, an air tool. They'll never, just go around and talk Jesus and hand out the plate, right? So anyway, the cats, I think they know more than these guys, so let's hear what the cats got to say. Rocky or Putin or whatever. But one of the things that Lindsey Williams said was, I shouldn't even mention the guy's yo-yo's name anymore. May his name be forgotten. One of the things he said was that my elite friend, and I listened to part of this stuff, and I says, oh man, I'm going to throw up. I can't listen to the whole thing. But he says, my elite friend says they're hopping mad, elite or mad, or hopping mad at Obama. Obama went separately and made a deal with the Saudi to bring the price of oil down. Wrong. I'm going to tell you why. I know there's a couple of reasons why they brought the price of oil down. I guess it was partly to go after the fracking industry, maybe them personally. But I think it was in cooperation with the U.S. government. But, what's the big glaring fact staring you right in the face? What was going on with Russia? Wasn't it like the United States and the West did not like what they were doing in Ukraine, which I don't like what they're doing in Ukraine either. So they put sanctions on Russia. So what's even better than sanctions? They even were stating it ahead of time. Low oil prices. They were even stating it ahead of time. Low oil prices. That's going to hurt them in the pocketbook even more. In other words, it was the policy of the elite of the United States to bring the oil prices down. And actually, if some of the shale and fracking industries go under, some of them will. They're just going to get bought up by the big guys for pennies on the dollar. The biggest guys it's actually going to be good for them. It's the ones that are too far extended out, it's going to be bad for them. So the real elite got the cash to buy up any shale or fracking industries that go under. I mean, they're not in general, the USA is actually still producing a lot more oil. They're still cranking out the oil left and right. It's not, in general, it's not hurting the shale oil industry. And it's definitely not hurting the tar sands industry because most of the capital expenditures are expended up front. I mean, I know more than this guy without having an elite friend. And I can actually, well, I haven't been around this crap in a while, but there's a lot of stuff out there that would probably make your head spin about, well, I'll talk about it real quick. I mean, there is actually a lot of tax havens and things. Like I knew all that stuff about the Russians having their tax havens in Cyprus and what they get as far as how much they have to pay on the capital gains on commodities and stuff. That's why they're based in Cyprus. And the tax rate in Cyprus, which is compared to the European tax rate, that's their big tax haven for the Russian oligarchs. Now I know in the in the UK it's the BVI. It's also that, what the hell is that damn island way the hell south in I can't remember this stuff, but I mean there's a lot of them. But it's just business as usual. It's nothing like earth shattering. I can mean most corporations are incorporated in the state of Delaware because they got more legal protection. A lot of S corporations are registered in the state of Nevada because it protects the managing members better. I mean, it's like, this is kind of like 101 stuff. And Lindsey Williams don't even know 101. But beware that, what I said about the people that are the blind leading the blind. It's a legit quote. And, Jesus must be rolling around in his grave right now saying, or rolling around up there in heaven or something, saying, what the hell did I die for? So some yo-yos like that can go pass around a collection plate and grab the money. Because I'm disgusted with this. I actually literally am totally disgusted with these kind of people. Because I think everybody who's an entrepreneur, everybody who is build something with, with skills, they should be getting the same deal. They should be a 501(c) and nonprofit. In this way, we can all operate nonprofit for Jesus, like quote unquote, and play the same game as all these holy yo-yos that are out there. But the situation actually, there's one thing that, and not that he's, one of these days the guy's going to be right about something, right? But the situation in Greece is actually getting far more critical. They may be forced out of the euro, but you know what? If that happens, it's going to be a contagion that Europe probably cannot contain. Because what's going to happen with that will be rampant inflation, political unrest, debt defaults, and everything. The whole financial sector. Actually, I forgot who the hell it was. I read it a while ago, but there's been more major responsible people saying that the absolute outcome of what is going to happen with all this, the new policies with the euro, and going to QE on a euro, and Japan's also been super QE. It's going to be absolute total financial collapse. I don't like that. I don't want that to happen. And I've been warning about, because I've been privy to this since, well, it was written back in the 70s, but I knew about it in the 80s. What ex-KGB Major Golitsyn said, in that, here I'm not playing fearmonger. I hope I'm wrong. Okay, I mean, I know. I can tell you this: even with ex-KGB Major Golitsyn, when he's talking about what the Russians have planned and how they deliberately dissolve the USSR and all that type of stuff, it's been a long-range strategic plan. It's not like something that's gonna happen overnight. It's almost like it's moving slower than a snail crawls across the United States. I mean, for crying out loud. So don't get all bent out of shape about it right away, but always keep it in the back of your mind. But he says that when there will strike is when there's total financial collapse in the West. But you want to have more than silver than that deal. It does look like silver's going back up again. I mean, recently. I think it, I thought it bottomed before a couple times. I mean, several times, man. I'm a little too bullish on this metal, man. That's one problem. I got a tainted vision on the silver too, but I'm not so tainted that people were screaming about $500, $1,000 silver. I was making fun of those yo-yos way back when it was silver was over 40, because I says they're getting a little ludicrous about freaking going up over 10 times, because it's almost like when you walk into a store, you say, hey, that's a good deal on that item over there, right? And you say, wow, just increase the price 10 times. Is they going to buy it? I mean, come on. I mean, there's a limit to how much it's going to go up. And I just telling you, the dollar's not going to go away completely. It may, like, many, many years from now, but it's not going to just fall apart immediately. It's going to be the currency. The dollar probably lose its world reserve status, but it's not going to lose. It's not going to lose the currency status in this nation. It's going to be our currency for this nation for a long time, till I don't know something really crazy happens. Maybe, I don't know. Well, that could happen too, But I also got to tell you, some of the stuff I've been putting out earlier videos about Major Golitsyn. The Marine Corps actually was working with this guy. I know, like back in 2000 and stuff. I mean, he defected in 1961. And actually, Putin is kind of playing a deal right to the max, exactly the way that plan's been said by Major Golitsyn. I was like, wow, man. So, not cool. But, to actually tell you the truth, the oligarchs in Russia, and I can tell you, I've seen stuff that people do not have seen, that's not on the internet, that I've seen their bona fide essays. It was like, I don't want to say where I saw this from or whatever. But the Russian oligarchs, like you have some silver coins or whatever, the Russian oligarchs do the same type of thing. It may not be silver or gold or something. Maybe it's gold too, but maybe it's more like gold. But what they'll do is they'll have materials. They'll have materials like Caesium-133 isotopes, copper isotopes. I don't know. There's other. I didn't even understand what this stuff was, but they'll have metric tons of it, which means 1,000 kilograms, thousands of kilograms of it in warehouses. I know this for a fact, and it's not. Well, I don't want to say how I knew this, but I know it's a fact. It's not something I pulled up off the internet or I'm making up. I know it for a fact. I seen it, and I seen where people were paid like, $50,000 to do an essay on the materials and stuff like that, and where it's located. I don't know every damn thing they got, but I know they play the same kind of game. And actually, a lot of times, if you look at the Forbes list, these Russians, they'll have billions and billions of dollars worth of these materials. And when you look at the Forbes list, they're not showing up as a billionaire anywhere, as one of the Russian billionaires. So there is elite that are hidden, and the pastor don't talk to them. I can guarantee you that. And actually, I can tell you the one thing: the elite got all different ideas. I mean, it's like the elite in Russia got an idea of what they want to do. The elite in China got an idea of what they want to do. There's elite in China. Japan got an idea of what they want to do. The Saudi royal family's got an idea of what they want to do. The elite over in Europe, Denmark, Germany, UK, Canada. Actually, to give you an idea, I knew one guy that was, he had a, you're going to think I'm full of it, but, I don't like, because if you believe it, I don't want to be the focus of anything, how I know this shit, but there's this one guy in Canada, he came up with €1 billion CD, and he was just... He had a small office with 3 people working for him, and he wasn't listed as a billionaire on Forbes. And I seen this one guy, I think he was from North Korea. He came up with a €1 billion. I know, $1 billion, because this one guy, every time he comes up with I don't want to say who it was, but this one guy in Europe, in Korea. I think he was from North Korea too. He came up with €1 billion CD from a bank of Hong Kong, and it was a fake. So we thought he was broke, right? And he comes up with a real one. So they'll pull shit like that. They all do. Now, do I know elite people? I know of stuff from before. I don't know of it now. But, say, for instance, I talked to somebody that had €1 billion or something, right? His opinion is just as good as somebody else's down the street anyway, because they all got different ideas of what's going on. Nobody really knows exactly. Everybody wants to rule the world, as the freaking old song goes, man. It's exactly what it is. So I'm not going to tell you, hey, thanks, man, pass out the plate. Hey, thanks, go buy my DVD. But I'm telling you, I think the silver is going to go up, but it's going to have a limit, and it could go higher than it should when it goes up, because that's the nature of the metal. But don't be afraid to sell it when it does go way the hell up. I don't think there's going to be a financial collapse like the dollar's going to worthless and stuff. That's bullshit. Excuse me. It is. It's total ludicrous garbage. This deflation we're seeing for the last year or so, it's probably preceding hyperinflation. That's the classic model. I hate to say this stuff, but... And I don't know, Jesus is probably thinking, I died for you one time, but never again, Pastor. These guys really get me mad. They do, I got to agree with that guy Pete down there at Southwest Rod and Custom in the DIY Auto School. I didn't realize he gets all bent out of shape about him too. They drive me nuts, man. He drives him nuts too. They drive me nuts. I think everybody that works hard in America should be a 501(c), and we never pay taxes, and it'll be a stimulate to our economy, and we'll, the government, the hell with them. But I don't like putting out a lot of these videos, but I realize that people need these kind of videos somewhat. And just remember that the Saudis, I think, were really told to bring down the price of oil to punish Russia. I think that was a major reason. But they can't, I can also tell you again, though, that Saudi can't keep this up long term. The reason is because it's going to destroy OPEC. OPEC's finished anyway. You know why? Because if Saudi keeps the price low enough to drive out the shale oil industry, it's going to wreck the other OPEC nations. You already see what's going on with Venezuela. They're getting clobbered, right? And Iran has already had a lot of sanctions against them over the past several years. They're getting destroyed, too, with these low oil prices. So they can't keep the prices too low forever and really damage the, the shale oil industry. So the other thing is shale oil industry, despite these low prices, is still pumping out lots of oil. Most of them are. Some are going down, but most of them are still hanging tough. And they can hang tough for several more months at least, probably a good 6 months more. And, the ones that don't hang tough will just be bought up by the bigger guys, the elite, for pennies on a dollar. Okay? Now, if Saudi brings up the prices a lot, well, that helps out all their competition. So OPEC's going to be like a toothless tiger, it's done. Not like Rocky, he's got real tiger's teeth and real claws and stuff. But anyway, so don't worry about, the Chicken Littles and stuff. Hey, man. Anyway, so just remember, every plant which my heavenly Father has not planted shall be rooted up. Let them alone. They are blind, and the leaders of the blind. For if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. Matthew 15:13 and 14. Okay? There you go. And I know somebody's going to be critical of me attacking you religious, but I'm telling you, the guy's not a religious guy. So if you want to believe in something, believe in alien cats. It's good enough. So no DVD sales here or anything like that, so just giving you a straight scoop. But the reality situation is, if we really do have this, well, I always said, I'm going to just leave you with this thought. If we have this economic collapse, and if everybody knows how to work, just keeps a positive attitude, or tries to just forge ahead and work hard, and not just sit on their ass and wonder what's the next thing is going to happen, and do some preparations, you'll get over it. It looks like the economic collapse right now is a lack of its deflation. Actually the money's not getting down into the middle class. I could add, I should just ad lib on this real quick too, because actually this was an experiment done in Austria, the country of Austria, not Australia, Austria, back in the 1930s. You know how we do QE and we got all these stimulate and bail out the freaking too big to fails? All that money gets held up by the big banks. It never gets into the middle class where people really work. The ones that put in, roads, they do framing on houses, they put roofs on houses, they pour concrete, they plant, they work with the livestock, they raise the chickens or whatever the hell it is, and get the eggs, and mine the ores and whatever. I'm just telling you that when it gets into the QE goes into the big banks, the too big to fail, it doesn't really stimulate the economy. You know why? When they're doing a QE, it doesn't add to the GDP? Because they're just sitting on the cash. They want to just sit on the cash and get a return on an investment for doing nothing, and somebody else does the real work. You got it? I mean, all those numbers is like a guy's. It's like they want somebody else to do the real work. That's why I don't like silver people who just want to get a bunch of silver and make money off the backs of somebody else's misfortune. I'm thinking I want people to have silver so they survive and they stay strong, and these are the people that are actually the strength of America. Okay? But, if the Austrian experiment they did, and it's not the Austrian School of Economics, it's something totally different. In Austria in the 1930s, in the Depression, what they did was they put local currencies out. They backed them with regular banknotes first, and they issued local currencies. And they issued them what they did was they did government projects for the local government. That's how they issued them. So it was like actual infrastructure that was built. And what happened is when that contractor got that money, he spent it, and it went to another contractor that did something else. And they wound up not having to put even anywhere near as much money out in the system to stimulate the economy. And the economy in that one area freaking totally thrived because it was like a QE in a local area with local currencies, and it went right into the hands of the people that actually work. You know, somebody that welds something, somebody that does masonry, somebody does framing, somebody does electrical work. See, when it goes into the too big to fails, they don't do anything. They just want to sit on their ass and get a return. A return how? From somebody else that does work, right? This is why I like this guy Pete over at Southwest Custom and Rod and DIY Auto School. I'm plugging his channel a lot here, but I got a even though I'm a desk jockey mainly, I got a philosophical alignment with this guy all the way. But let me put it to you this way. We already got the answer. And your answer actually lies in our own two skilled hands and our brains. And I'm not here to freaking, I guess the people that want to just profit by silver and on the backs of other people's misfortune, go listen to Pastor Yo-Yo. Fine by me. Fine by me. So anyway, I'll just leave you with that. But, I'm telling you straight scoop up here. And if the world looks like it's going to come to an end, it could be coming to an end on numbers. It doesn't mean, if the whole United States came to an end and we had a really big collapse, go back to the way of the Cherokees and the Apaches, man. We got another American lifestyle we could fall back on if the worst comes to the worst. So just look at it that way and keep the yo-yos out of here from trying to take over. That's what I would say. Anyway, Putin the Cat be with you.